Here are 5 things that I wish I knew before opening my bike shop. Number 1, don't undervalue your services. Too many bike shops, including my own, when they open their doors, they believe that in order to attract customers, they need to be the lowest common denominator on price. The truth of the matter is price is only one of many things that customers choose to shop by, and it's not the number one driving force for bringing new customers into your door. So there's a couple of reasons outside of price that customers may choose you, and they often end up being far more important than your price. Proximity, for example, is a large driver that gets people into your door. And the second thing is going to be reputation. So the mistake that I made is because I did not yet have a reputation, I felt that in order to attract customers into my store, I needed to charge lower service prices than my competitors. Believe it or not, when I opened my doors, my basic tune-up price was $40, which at this level, I now understand may have even negatively impacted the number of customers that came in. Because as it turns out, if you charge too little for your services, it actually puts a negative connotation in your customer's mind in terms of the quality that they are to expect. Most people will shoot for the middle if given an option of A, B, or C. Maybe these options are a $75 tune-up, a $100 tune-up, and a $125 tune-up. With no other information, the vast majority of people will go for the middle. Also keep in mind, you have expertise and people are paying you to save their time. Anybody can go on YouTube and figure out how to tune their front derailleur, but what they're paying for is saving an entire afternoon of finicking with that front derailleur, where instead they could pass it on to you, the expert who's saving them time. Remember that you're not charging for things based on your time, you're charging based on your expertise. It doesn't matter if a job takes you 15 minutes, if it's saving your customer 4 hours, it is worth the money. So if you're opening up a new bike shop, look at the prices of service departments in your area and price yourself even a little bit above the median for your area. Once you get yourself up to 100 positive Google reviews, go ahead and nudge your prices up to some of the highest in the area. The only customers that you will lose are the ones that shop obsessively by price and price alone, which is only, believe it or not, a small subset of people. A larger number of your customers are going to shop based on proximity and reputation. The second thing that I wish I knew before opening my doors is that running a bike shop is more seasonal than you think, and you better strike when the iron is hot. Now, this one won't necessarily apply to all shops depending on where you are located, but for the most part, you have a hot season and you have a cold season. For us, we do something like 80% of our business for the entire year inside of a 5-month window. That's going to be from early April up through midsummer. And so during that time, we are open all of the time and we are going hard. And likewise, looking into the winter, there's only a limited amount of things that you can do to get people to want to ride and service their bikes when it's 30 degrees and snowing outside. A mistake that I made in our earlier seasons is not expanding my store hours appropriately during that time when the season was in full swing. And on the flip side, during the winter, I may have been open for more hours than what made sense given the current levels of demand. So make sure you lean hard into your seasonality and strike when the iron's hot. Have expansive open hours and divert resources towards the part of the year that's delivering the most return for you. And likewise, lower your expenses and don't overwork yourself during the down season. Instead, use that time to set up the appropriate dominoes so that you can once again Strike when the iron is hot during your prime season. The third thing that I wish I knew before opening my bike shop doors is that you should not underestimate the power of accessory sales. When I opened my doors, I looked at my business from the perspective of just two revenue streams, which was sales and service. But baked into sales is not just bicycles, but accessories as well. I started with way too small of a lineup of options. I basically just had helmets and maybe some gloves and lights in the store, and I didn't actually allocate a section of my storefront to accessory items and upsells. Where we stand today, we move on average $75 worth of accessory items for every bicycle that we sell. And by the end of the year, that adds up quite a bit. So accessories are essentially your third revenue stream. I know that they technically are lumped in with sales, but between service, bicycle sales, and then accessory sales, those accessory sales are your third largest revenue stream, and they should not be ignored. It may feel silly given that you make so much more on a bicycle sale, but you should allocate 30% of your storefront space to your accessory wall. This is going to make for the best aesthetic and experience so that people have the opportunity to get the accessory items that they want with whatever bike they purchase. And believe it or not, this will outweigh the benefit of having those 4 or 5 more bikes in inventory. At the end of the day, having 10% more inventory in bikes is not going to move the needle as much as having an expansive accessory selection. I largely ignored this for my first 2 seasons, and once I stopped ignoring it, I realized the benefits immediately. Lesson number 4 that I wish I knew before opening my doors. Do not underestimate the power of an email marketing list. I really wish I had this information on day 1. I did not really start taking seriously the power of email marketing until I already had 3 seasons under my belt. With most things marketing, there is an exponential effect at play in that your first year, you might kind of put a little following together. The next 2 or 3 years is starting to build. And by that 4th and 5th year, you're starting to get leverage behind the number of people that you have in your email list to the point where a well-crafted email can convert multiple sales. You might not ever get a better ROI on ad spend than you will with email marketing. But the downside is it does require some time and a little bit of elbow grease. The good news is you can implement some form of email collection in your checkout in your business from day 1. Don't make the mistake that I made in waiting 3 years before I started collecting emails. And finally, the 5th thing that I wish I knew before opening my bike shop doors is to make sure you find some revenue stream outside of the typical sales and service. Many shops out there fail to increase the scope of their business and take advantage of related revenue streams within their industry. For example, if you live in a touristy area or especially by a beach, then rental bikes may be a great revenue stream for you. Another option may be a subscription service for mobile bike repairs, or maybe even something along the lines of guided bike tours. Take a look at what experience-driven thing may be missing from your local community that you can fill with your bike shop. What you'll find is even if this revenue stream proves to be minuscule compared to your sales and service, it will have sort of a cross-pollination effect in that maybe because you're putting on a group ride now, you're getting more accessory sales because you consistently get a large group of people in your store every Saturday morning. So please make sure not to ignore those auxiliary revenue streams. So to recap, the 5 things I wish I knew before opening my doors 6 years ago. 1, don't underestimate the value of your services. 2, your business is more seasonal than you think and you should strike when the iron is hot. 3, don't underestimate your accessory sales and allocate at least 1/3 of your floor space to accessories. 4, do not ignore the power of an email list. And 5, look for extra revenue streams outside of just the basic sales and service. If you own a shop and you have some hard-earned lessons that you picked up within your first few seasons, go ahead and drop it in a comment below, and hopefully it'll help a shop owner out there.